All right, so we've all had those days, all right? Johnny walks into the classroom, he puts his head down before even giving you a chance to explain the most engaging literature circle you have planned for the afternoon. Cynthia comes in, she's got tear stains on her face. She kind of, sort of engages in the close reading activity, but you can really tell she'd much rather be at home listening to some sad song that matches her current state of emotion and continue her sulking. Ryan, good old Ryan, he walks in. He lets you know he drank about 3 energy drinks before he came into your classroom and downed a party-sized bag of hot Cheetos. He's on carb overload, and all over his face, you can tell he's like, oh, this is Gapp, you're in for it. It's party time. You look at the clock, you got 2 hours, lunch just finished before that miraculous bell rings, all right? That signifies freedom, peace, and best of all, silence. Why can't they all just come in and learn? Why can't they just follow the social skills, go along with my lesson plan, okay? Engage in the activity, show me they got it, and we can move on. Why can't everybody be like Tamara, who walks into the classroom 10 minutes late? She sits right up front. She raises her hand. Mrs. Gapp, I'm so sorry I was late. I was at the counselor's office. Can I meet with you after class just to kind of make up what we missed? I'm looking at her, I'm thinking, can I just have a classroom of 36 of you? That would be great. But you respond, of course, hon. Well, sometimes the boy who's being defiant by putting his head down, the girl with the tear stains all over her face because of some sort of social or boyfriend drama, the boy who's the class clown who never seems to be absent, he's always there. They're speaking loudly to you of what's really going on deep down inside. And sometimes it's not so silent messages, to be honest with you. Even the girl who seems to have everything put together on the outside is crying from the inside, and she intentionally included the details that she was at the counselor's office to see if he would bite and ask why. Turns out it's Friday, the Friday before Thanksgiving break. Johnny's at school every day, 7 a.m., never misses breakfast, never misses lunch, because Johnny's reality is that he's not going to eat until the next day at school. So your little reminders on the board, one more day, hey, we're here, we're Thanksgiving break. It's just a reminder that he's gonna have to fend for himself in that soup kitchen line around the corner from his church to make sure he's fed. Had I taken a moment at the beginning of the school year to notice that he's got holes in his shoes, that he wears the same exact outfit every single day, that students typically don't sit next to him because he doesn't exactly smell like laundry detergent, and looking at his hair, he's got dirt and dandruff every day, I would have realized far sooner that this child's homeless. And instead of asking the questions of why can't he just focus, why can't he lift his head and engage, and ask the questions of what can I do for this student to make sure that he succeeds, I would have found out far before January that he's one of the best writers that ever stepped foot into my classroom. Cynthia, with the tear stains on her face, who was less enthused about my close reading activity with matching highlighters and sentence stem cards for collaborative discussions. Her reality is that she moved into her mother's house that summer. And during the months of June and July, she was being molested by her mom's boyfriends, which unfortunately turned out to be her mother's clients. She wanted to get out and she wanted to be free. So that silent message right there of the tear stains, that was her screaming out. It took a Post-it sticker, and I said, "What's wrong, sweetie?" And it turned out to be a 12-hour day with police in my classroom, with Child Protective Services, with grandma on the phone up north to make living arrangements for her. That was the day she was freed. I'll never forget the look on her face when she left. It was the last day I saw her, but I could tell this was the start to a new beginning for her, and she was finally freed. It just took a Post-it note. Good old Ryan, the boy who has no nutritional value understanding and only seems to consume things with red powder, spicy stuff on them. He's the one who's constantly cracking the jokes. He's the one where you're in your classroom and you either have one eye on him or you're standing right next to this child to make sure his eyes are on his work and it's not on the kid across the room that he's trying to distract. It seems as though Ryan is only content when the attention's on him, whether it be his peers, whether it be me, whether it's good attention, bad attention, he just wants the attention. And that's his message. His reality is his dad's an alcoholic. His mom works 3 part-time jobs looking for a 4th. Your question at the door of, hey, Ryan, I've been leaving some voicemails and nobody seems to be getting, back in contact with me. Is this phone number on Aries correct? That was a brutal reminder to him that he doesn't have that attention and support at home. So once I had that epiphany that this child needs this attention, I started giving him little leadership roles, little tasks to do in class, and this child flourished. I asked him, hey, what do you want to do? He wants to go to college. Now, let me be honest with you, it wasn't all hearts and butterflies and rainbows and stuff after this sudden epiphany, but it became a lot easier to understand where Ryan was coming from. He needed that attention, and he needed to be able to use that desire and that energy in a positive way. When I finally asked Tamara why she went to the counselor, she explained, oh, no big deal, Mrs. Gapp. There's some stuff going on at home. It's just getting a little bit more difficult to handle. It's okay. She comes to me later that week, and she exposes to me that she's been deeply cutting herself. So we got her some help. Towards Christmas break, she started to lose sudden weight. So I looked at her and I go, hey, you know what? I'm wondering if it's a health issue. So I say, I've been noticing you've been losing a lot of weight. Is everything okay? Are you eating your lunch? Is everything? She admits to me that she'd been eating, and then every time she eats, she makes herself throw up. So of course, we're doing everything we can. We put together a crisis team for the student. We really are loving on her and supporting her. Unfortunately, her story doesn't get better right away. January, she was hospitalized for drinking bleach. March, she comes to school with cuts on her face to symbolize a smile, because she wanted to show staff and her peers and her family that her smile that she was putting on the outside was fake, and she was severely hurting on the inside. So her silent message of including the detail about the counselor led up to not so silent messages. And luckily, towards the end of the school year, she got it all together. She raised her grades, she made up everything, and her scars began to fade, and it was replaced with a smile, and this time it was a genuine smile. With Tamara and Cynthia's stories in mind, it brings up the prominent issue of gender inequality and misogyny within this nation. These 2 stories paint the perfect picture of sometimes what our culture can do, and it presses just this expectation that sometimes is unattainable for these children. Fortunately for these 2 young women, they were able to fight through and persevere despite their given circumstances, and they indirectly asked for help through those silent messages. So often, both young men and women do not ask for help in fear that they're not going to match what society expects of them. This is why we need to seek these messages. Most don't ask. Now, there's no right or wrong way of looking for these silent messages in your classroom. And trust me, these are just 4 stories out of the thousands of students that have stepped foot into my classroom. I just found out recently that a student I had 2 years ago was arrested for armed robbery. Were there things that maybe he did in class that I could have looked into? Maybe. Were there some things that maybe I could have done to help support him and steer him in another direction? I don't know. Sometimes we can't save them all, but let me tell you something. We sure as heck can try. Many of our students come from loving and supporting families, but a lot of them aren't fortunate like that. This is why we need to look. We need to listen. Search for these silent messages now more than ever. A Post-it note, a brief conversation after class, a glance at sneakers with holes in them. It could save a student's life. Shine light on a talent that they might not otherwise have discovered. Put a child into a safer environment and provoke hope. Being an educator isn't just to help students learn the Common Core standards. We have the ability to fight for social justice. With the work that we do on a daily basis, we can shape and mold the future of our region, if not our nation. Let's listen for these silent messages. Let's listen for them now. Let's listen for them together. Thank you.